guys, welcome back to my channel. Hello if you're new here, I'm so glad that you've joined, and welcome to a very long overdue reading wrap up, because I didn't do a reading wrap up in August because I only read, let me put those down. I didn't do a reading wrap up in August because I only read 6 books and I just didn't think it was long enough to do a wrap up. So I thought I'll combine August and September together, and I just had to straighten out my camera because it was wonky. That is not very professional of me. In September, I was far too busy because obviously, as you'll know, I moved house, and so I didn't read half as much as I wanted to then anyway, but I'm now filming it. What is the date today? It is the 18th of October. I'm now filming my reading wrap up for August and September, so it's very long overdue, but I did want to talk about the books that I've read and just combine the two together before I do my reading wrap up for October, of which I have read so many books already so far this month. I think I've read 7 or 8 books at the moment, which is really good going. It's the most I've read in the last couple of months because everything's settled down now and I've just got way more time. But then I was away on holiday in Dubai, so I couldn't then film my reading wrap up whilst I was away, and so that's why we're filming it really late. But I did still really want to talk about some of the books because I've got some favourite reads and yeah, just loads to talk about. So let's just get straight in to the reading wrap up. So I'm just going to do this in no particular order. So like I say, I read these books between the months of August and September. But let's talk about Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. So this, I didn't actually know this at the time, is actually like a Hermione fanfic. Love that. I didn't know that. It was my first one. I need more. I need more. I actually have Manacled downloaded on my Kindle, Secrets and Masks downloaded on my Kindle, and then I also have Alchemized, but I need more. So if any of you have any more recommendations, please let me know, because I absolutely loved this. So this is a dark fantasy and it's set in a world where there's been a war and the dark forces have won, and our two main characters in this, Bryony and Tobin, are enemies and have been like enemies and rivals for a long time. When the dark forces take over, she ends up being auctioned off because basically her family and her family line was supposed to, there was like this prophecy that they were going to win the war. They don't. Her brother dies in it, and so she's in danger and she gets auctioned off. And then like all of the people that were part of, like, there's obviously two sides, so the people on the side that won, they all get auctioned off into the homes and houses to essentially become like slaves. And yeah, it's really good, but it is, oh my god, I did not know how dark it was going to be. Really dark. But I gave this 4.5 stars, but the more I think about it, the more I think it's more of a 4.75. It was so good, and I just absolutely adored this. The thing that I love the most about this book is there is magic in it, and it just jumps straight in. Like, the world building isn't too heavy or complex, and even though there's magic in it, the magic system is just, it is kind of simple. It's literally like you can just cast things, you can do spells, you can create shields and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's just magic used in this freely from the get-go, so you kind of like know what you're getting yourself in for. It doesn't need to be explained too much. I just love how this book just literally hits the ground running from the start. Really enjoyed that. That was like a breath of fresh air. There's a lot of books that I've read recently where things just take so long to get going. That was not the case with this at all. Bryony obviously is now essentially like captive in Tobin's Hearst family home. But actually, I'm not going to say much more because I want to keep this spoiler free, but I really recommend for you to read this. It really truly is as good as everybody says. This was not on my TBR at all. I kind of picked this up on a whim. If you watched my TBR video for September, you'll know how ambitious it was, and like, considering that was a month that I'd literally just moved into a house and had so much to do, I don't know why I thought that would be viable. So I kind of just strayed off my TBR and was mood reading. Best decision I ever made with this book. I thought it was phenomenal, but it is quite dark, so do check your triggers. I cannot wait for the second book. I absolutely loved it. I have been thinking about it since I finished it, and yeah, really enjoyed this. And I just think for a dark fantasy, it just ticks every single box. Next up in September, I also read Diabound by Sable Sorensen. I'm a bit late to the party on this. A lot of people have been reading this over the last couple of months. Again, this was like a bit more of a mood read pick. I just thought I just want like a fun fantasy. Direwolves instead of dragons, which I really liked. I've read a lot of fantasies recently that have dragons in them. No issues with that. Love dragons, but this was just really interesting. So in this book, Merrin's sister is kidnapped by the enemy. So she kind of enrolls in the army or like in the military or something to try and find her sister and get her sister back. What she doesn't realise is the time that she enrolls into the army is when they have to go through the bonding trials, which is where you have to bond with a direwolf. If you are unsuccessful, you can die, like you can be unalived. She has no idea what she's getting herself in for, and then the direwolf that bonds with her is one that has never bonded or doesn't tend to bond with anybody ever, like hasn't bonded with anybody in years or decades, and they have to go through all these trials as to how well they work together, because what happens is once you're bonded with the direwolf, you then get sent to the front lines. They are currently battling, what do they call them? Siphons, which are like vampires, and the vampires are trying to take over the land because they siphon off the people, and that obviously in turn kills them. So that's what's happening at the front line. Once you've bonded with your direwolf, you get sent to the front line to go to the war. And yeah, so basically Meryn finds herself in this whole new world that she did not mean to be a part of. And there is the Crown Prince Killian, who in this book, like, he's not very nice to her. They don't get on very well, but he always he has this kind of like protective streak over her as well. And it's just about her going through all of the trials, trying to bond with her direwolf, then not getting on very well. And I thought it was like such a breath of fresh air. A lot of people have been comparing this to Fourth Wing, but just without the dragons and with wolves instead. And I kind of see the similarities, but honestly, like, the story to me, not at any point when I was reading it did I think this is just so similar to Fourth Wing. Like, I can see the similarities, but I didn't read it. Bearing in mind Fourth Wing's one of my favourite books ever. I didn't read it and think this is just a copy and paste. I actually really enjoyed this. There's not really much unique about this, but I thought it was a really good time. It was really fun. I really like the romance. There's a really good plot twist in it, which I did kind of see coming, but very close to the twist coming out. So I guess at that point you've kind of like, you can kind of see what's happening. Really enjoyed it. I gave this 4.75 stars. This could have been a 5-star read had it not got quite slow for me in the middle. I did find, if I'm being completely honest, it got very repetitive and quite slow and drawn out through the middle, that I was kind of like, not like I wasn't excited to pick up the book and keep reading, but it was just like the same thing kept happening. The last 30%, however, was amazing and actually bumped it from a 4-star read for me to 4.75 star. It was so good. Now let's talk about the first 5-star read that I have had in months. I love this book with my whole entire heart, and that is Nightshade by Autumn Woods. This book, I love this book. I love this book. I need a special edition of it, like yesterday. So this is a dark academia gothic romance. I think it's probably marketed as enemies to lovers. I don't really agree with that. It's probably more of like a rivals to lovers, like hate to love scenario. Basically in this, Ophelia gets accepted into Sorosong University, which is like this university set up in Scotland. The setting and the vibes and the atmosphere, absolutely immaculate in this book. It's like foggy, it's isolated, it's dark, it's rainy, it's cold, it's gloomy, it's ominous, it's eerie. It's just so good. She goes to Sorosong University. On the way there, she has this kind of like, I wouldn't necessarily call it a meet cute, but she bumps into Alex, who is one of the main families that gets to go to this university. His dad and everyone, like his family, are extremely well known. So this university is for the elite. So all the rich and elite people. Ophelia's family died in a helicopter crash, but she thinks that there's like something surrounding it that's just not quite adding up. Like, she doesn't think it was just an accident. And that's where she meets Alex, and they have this like push and pull and like this tension and yearning between them, which honestly, I actually have goosebumps. I have goosebumps because the way that their romance is written in this is literally what I need when I want a slow burn romance with tension and yearning. Like, nothing happens between Ophelia and Alex in this book. For like, I think on my Kindle I was at 75%. Got that far, and we know how much they want each other, and nothing has happened between them yet still. I loved the romance in this so much, and basically Alex is more closely connected to Ophelia's parents' death than she realises, and because of that they feel like she won't allow herself to be with him or get close to him. He wants her to get close. It ends on this cliffhanger that literally ripped my heart out and stomped all over it. There is going to be a second book. I don't know when. I really need it now. Like, my God, I have goosebumps talking about this book. I feel like I'm not explaining it very well because I'm just so excited and love this book so much that I can't even form coherent thoughts about it. So all I would say is just read it. There's like a good mystery in it, and there's a couple of plot twists. There's a really good cliffhanger at the end. Really, really, really good slow burn romance. And Alex, the MMC, okay, Alex Corbo Green, the way that this man, I can't even get my words out. he is written so well. The things he says, the things between them, like they have this like little thing where she'll be like until midnight and then he'll say until midnight in 100 years. And you like won't understand that unless you read the book, but it's just so cute and adorable and I just love them so much. And it's just one of the best romances that I've read in such a long time. So please read it. Honestly, this is probably a 6-star read. I love this book so much. Okay, let me just calm myself down after talking about that. I actually want to reread that book right now. That is how much I loved it. Okay, now I read the Bloodwing Academy series. So I read On Wings of Blood and The Bond That Burns. And I really enjoyed these. I think I gave both of them 3.75 stars or like a 3.75 and a 3.5, or potentially one of them was a 4-star read. I can't really remember. They were good, okay? They were good, but they're fun, they're bingeable, they're just pretty average. So in the first book, Medra Pendragon just appears into their world. So it's said from the beginning she is not from this world. It's full of vampires, this world. There's like a whole vampire hierarchy. Medra is Fae and there are no Fae in this world. Blake stumbles across her, takes her back to Bloodwing Academy. They enroll her there because she's so different. Like she's got the pointed ears, she's got brightly coloured hair. All of the vampires only have silver hair. Like she's very different. And they take her and enroll her into this university. And in this world, the dragons have not been seen for hundreds of years. There was like a big war, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. And the dragons have not been seen for hundreds of years, and there's 4 dragons, there's 4 houses, and each house would control a certain type of dragon. There was 4 main dragons and they haven't been seen in centuries. And Medra, they think she's going to be the next dragon rider. So they want her, they recruit her because they want her to be a dragon rider. However, there's 4 houses, there's a lot of hierarchy, a lot of politics between the vampire houses as to like who deserves what and who controls what, and you know there's alliances between certain houses and things. So there's a lot of politics, which I did really enjoy, and they want Medra to be their dragon rider. However, if a dragon appears, there's going to be one of them, and there's 4 houses. And Medra accidentally awakens a dragon in this. She doesn't mean to, and then it enters in book 2, all about Medra learning to control her dragon and which house is going to have Medra and the dragon, because Medra belongs to one house, the dragon belongs to another. Like, who is it that has ownership over her and this dragon? And yeah, that is basically it. It's like an academic setting. There's magic, there's dragons, there's vampire, there's they. It was really fun, but it just wasn't, something about it was just so, like, not average, because it was better than average. I don't want to call the books average, but I haven't really thought about the books since I finished them. Even just then, trying to explain the plot to you guys, I feel like I've probably explained that really poorly because I've read so many other books since then that I loved that it's kind of overshadowed these books. So, and that's how I feel about them, like fun at the time, but maybe a little bit forgettable. So I do recommend it if you want fantasy that you don't have to think, like really low brain power, bingeable, a little bit spicy, a little bit of tension, then yeah, definitely read them. I think also I didn't love Blake's character. There's another character in this, another MMC, who I actually can't remember his name, who I actually really liked, and I was like really hoping for like a love triangle between the 3 of them because I actually liked the other character more. I find Blake really unlikable in this, and I think that's probably why the books don't stick with me so much, because I just didn't love him. And yeah, I just thought it was a bit, I don't know, like I just didn't love him. And Medra's okay, but I think the characters for me in this, I'm just not that connected to them. But is it fun for a fantasy? Yes. Okay, I read Nightwolf by Karina Howe. This is a book that's in an interconnected world from Karina Howe's other vampire romances. So if you've read the Dracula duet, which is Blood Orange and Black Rose, and then the Dark Eyes duet, which is Black Sunshine and The Blood is Love, I've read all 4 of them. I love Karina Howe's vampire romances. This is like a spin-off, if you will, for 2 characters, Amethyst and Wolf. And it was okay. Like, it's a friends to lovers paranormal romance, basically. Amethyst is human, Wolf is vampire. Because of this, they feel like they can't be together, but they've always had this spark between each other. And yeah, that's basically the plot of the story, because obviously he will outlive her, and like they don't want to fall in love with each other and lose each other. And yeah, I mean, it was just like fun. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. Nothing to shout home about, but just if you want like a fun vampire read, then yes. But I do think you definitely should read the other books first before reading this, because otherwise you will think the romance between Amethyst and Wolf is insta-lust, and it definitely isn't, because we've met them before. So I don't think you'll enjoy this as much if you don't read the other books and get like a little bit of context around this world. But for like vampire romance, it was a really good time. And then also quickly, I want to talk about 2 books I read on my Kindle. So The Wolf King and The Night Prince. These are werewolf shifter, like paranormal fantasy romances. Really enjoyed these books. I feel like these were like a breath of fresh air. They've reminded me very much of another series that I'm going to talk about in just a second. And yeah, I really enjoyed them. Now, I was excited to read these because I heard that they were supposed to be a love triangle, and it is a love triangle, but it wasn't the kind of love triangle that I was maybe expecting or that I was after. I wanted it to be one of those love triangles where you are so clearly rooting for her to be with somebody, and she is so torn between the two of them. Callum in this, who's the main male characters, I don't know why, but something about him was just too safe and too cute and too nice, that I just wasn't really like in love with him. And then there's Blake, who's the other character in this, her other love interest, who I absolutely loved, but I didn't love enough. I think I just loved him a lot more than I liked Callum's character. And then we have Aurora. So the synopsis of the book is Aurora is human, and in this book it's set in a world where the humans have been kind of like at war with the wolves, because they think the wolves' way of life, like she's grown up learning that they are awful, like they kill people, they assault people, and like they're just like their way of life is just supposed to be really like gritty and like not nice, basically. And Aurora is a princess. She's betrothed to a prince who is not very nice. I can't even remember his name. I absolutely despise his character. She is betrothed to him. He does not treat her very nicely. And then one night she goes down to the kennels, because any wolves that have been captured by the humans, they are kept in the kennels, and they basically watch them fight, like the wolves fight each other. But they're wolf shifters, so they're in human form whilst these fights are going on, and Aurora doesn't agree with it, so she goes down to the kennels because one of the wolves gets injured. She goes down to check he's okay. That's where she meets Callum. Callum informs her he's planning on escaping, and he's like, are you going to come with me or not? And she kind of just feels like better the devil you know than the one that you don't. So she goes with Callum, and they escape together, and she finds herself off in wolf territory, and there she realises that, of course, they're not as bad as she initially first thought that they were. But then there's a whole story surrounding Aurora and her origins and who she really is. And that kind of like all the lore in the story was really good. It was just for me that the romance, it just wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. So I think I gave the first book 3.5 or 3.75 stars, the second book 4 stars. They were kind of 5-star predictions, I'm going to be honest. Definitely wasn't a 5-star read for me, but I will finish I think it's going to be a trilogy. I will finish the trilogy because I need to know what happens. Like, the second book was definitely much better than the first. And yeah, I really, again, like, love the world that she's created and all the lore and the history. And yeah, I just really liked it. It was just like a breath of fresh air for a fantasy. And then the fantasy that I thought was kind of similar to, and it reminded me of, was the Court of Ravens series by Liv Zander. So I read these back in August. Feathers So Vicious and Shadows So Cruel. These are definitely much darker than The Wolf King, and not 100% the same, but just kind of reminded me of it, because again, this is like a love triangle, and it's again humans and then raven shifters, and the ravens can shift into, what do they call them? I can't remember what they call them. Because you know you have like a murder of crows, you have like a something of ravens. I can't really remember now because I've read so many books since these. So in this book we have Galantia, who's our, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Galantia or Galantia, I don't know, Galantia, who's our FMC, and then we have Malia, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and Sebian, who are our 2 MMCs, and they are ravens, and then Galantia is human. And basically she gets kidnapped by them and is in the Court of Ravens. That is quite literally the book. She finds herself in the Court of Ravens. Malia is not nice to her at all. Sebian is a lot more softer towards her. She falls in love with Sebian first, and he's the one that she's sort of like with from the start. But then Malia, who treats her horrendously, may I add, that's where like the dark elements of it come from, because the things he does to her, I'll be honest, his character was irredeemable for me and was not redeemable still by the end of the book. Despite what went on and everything, I just did not think he could redeem himself. But she finds herself in the Court of Ravens. However, there is also something special about Galantia, which she doesn't realise until she's with them and sort of like starts uncovering all this stuff about herself. That is kind of like the main synopsis. I really liked in these books that they're raven shifters. I thought that was really cool, really enjoyable. Now it's a love triangle. I'm going to be honest, This is marketed as a why choose romance, and that is so incorrect because it is not a romance. A romance needs a happy ending. There is not one in this. Know that going into it, because I was so shocked and like so upset, because I genuinely thought that these three were going to be getting happy ever after, and they do not. So just know that going into it. I think it's really important to market books correctly. So it is a why choose as opposed to a love triangle, but it does kind of read more love triangle in book 1, and then in book 2 it is definitely a why choose. But yeah, it's not a romance. There is no happy ending in this. It was a very sad ending, but I did really enjoy the books. I think I gave them like 3.754 stars. Can't really remember now. They are dark, but like it's not necessarily the fantasy world that's dark. It's like the spice in it that's dark, I would say. And it is spicy, by the way. It is super spicy. Then Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. Oh my god. This was so good. I read this in my 24-hour reading challenge. I didn't like Phantasma. I think I gave it 3 stars. It's not that I hated it, I just didn't like it. I didn't like the romance or anything. I wish there was more focus on the trials, but the world and everything is really cool. These are paranormal fantasy romances. I loved this book so much. This is also fake dating, which is one of my favourite tropes, but in a paranormal setting, which I don't actually think have read before, if I'm remembering correctly, and I really enjoyed it. So in this we have Genevieve and Rowan. Rowan, again, just one of those MMCs that I just have come to absolutely love and adore. Genevieve gets this letter inviting her to Enchantra. She turns up, Rowan answers the door. Rowan is like a, let me get this correct, is he a ghoul or a wraith? He's a wraith, which is some kind of like ghost. Because in here, there's all different types of like ghosts. You can get like ghouls, wraiths, ghosts, poltergeists, like you can just get loads of different things in here. I really, really like the world. It's really cool. But Rowan answers the door to her and he's like, what are you doing here? Go away. Genevieve is like, absolutely not. Like, I got this letter, I'm coming in, I want to find out what happens. What she doesn't know is that she's entering a deadly game. So Rowan and his family have all been stuck in this house for like hundreds of years or something. There's a devil in this who runs a game once a year, and the devils in this series are like, it's the typical twist on like, don't make a deal with the devil, and they're very like tricksy. You just don't know what you're getting yourself in for with the devils. They're not like scary per se, but they're just like kind of paranormal beings that you don't want to come across, because they're always going to one-up you in some kind of way. They've been stuck in this game which you can die in, but the thing is, Rowan and his family are all immortal and Genevieve is not. So now they're coming up with an idea of how they can keep Genevieve alive, and the only way that they can do that is if she can pair up with somebody in the game. She has to pretend to be marrying into Rowan's family, so it's like fake dating, fake marriage. It's so good. And then they go through all these trials and all these games, which I thought were done so much better in this than they were in Phantasma. I thought the romance was so much better in this than it was in Phantasma, because they're stuck in this game, and like at points they'll be stuck together for like 24 hours either hiding or fighting or whatever it is that they're doing, and then through being stuck together, like the development of the romance was just so good. Okay, my camera died, so if the lighting or the angle has changed, that'll be why. But I believe I was in the middle of talking about Enchantra and the romance between Rowan and Genevieve in this, which I just absolutely loved. It was like, I really like the whole fake marriage thing, and that's one of my favourite tropes, or fake dating is, so take it one step further with the whole fake marriage. Absolutely love that. The trials in this were just done so much better. I love trials in a fantasy book, and that for me in Phantasma was what I thought was quite underwhelming, whereas in this they were so good. They went on, it was like the crux of the book was the games and the trials, and yeah, I just really loved this. It was so fun. I think I devoured this in like literally about 7 hours. Like I could not put this book down. And Rowan is such a great MMC, like the things that he says, the way he behaves, like his mannerisms, his character in general, like his personality was just so great. He kind of reminds me a little bit of like Damon Salvatore a little bit. Like I just really liked him. So yeah, loved this book. And then my least favourite book that I've read over the last 2 months, which was actually a DNF, and I did actually intend to go back to it, and I didn't, and I just, if I go back to it now, I'm going to have to reread it. Never say never, but I'm not 100% sure. So Amid Clouds and Bones by Ella Fields. Again, I read this because I thought it was going to be like a standalone fantasy with a love triangle in it, and I love love triangle. How many times can I say that? But I really do when it's done right. And if I go into the book thinking it's going to be one and it underwhelms me, it's probably just going to, at best, be a 3-star read, which is kind of what's happened with a few of other books that I've read. But this, first of all, I had no idea what was going on in this. I thought the world building was so bad. It's meant to be an enemies to lovers. No, like this is definitely not an enemies to lovers in any way, shape or form. It's so, am I missing something here? Like, where were the enemies in this? I don't know. Like, yes, okay, they're rivals and they didn't like each other, but like, where was the enemies to lovers? And yeah, I wasn't invested in it at all. I want to say like 43% of the way through, and at that point in a book, things need to be happening. I need to be invested by then. I can't be nearly halfway into a book and not be invested. I literally didn't care what was happening. Like, everything was happening, but nothing was happening. I can't even remember any of the stories. I can't give you a synopsis because obviously I didn't finish the book, so it's not stuck with me at all. But yeah, I just didn't really love it. And I'm sure there's meant to be a love triangle in it. And I don't know if at that point I'd met the other character in it that was going to be a part of this love triangle or not. And if I had, I did not see any connection or romance between the two of them whatsoever in 43% of the book. So I don't know about this one. I don't know if I should try again. Maybe I just read it at the wrong time. I don't know, but yeah, didn't enjoy that. That was technically my first and only, I think, DNF of the year so far. So hopefully we don't continue that. But there we go. So that is my very, very long overdue reading wrap up for August and September. October has been a much better reading month so far, as was the end of September. But thank you so much for watching my video, guys. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming content. I filmed a Q&A, so if that is or isn't up by the time this video goes up, then if you want to know more about me and like books and have a chat about books in the book community and all that kind of stuff, then make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. Thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you guys in my next one.